Philippines, every Filipino has a fundamental right to education, health, and equal treatment. But are we truly achieving these ideals in every corner of our society? Today, we dive deep into these pressing issues, hearing from voices on the front lines of education, healthcare, and equality. We spoke to a dedicated biology teacher, a community nurse serving those in need, and a brave student from the LGBT community, each sharing their unique perspectives on how our rights are respected or ignored in these critical areas. Through their stories, we'll learn how Filipinos are striving for the education they deserve, the healthcare they need, and the equal treatment they demand. But where do we stand today? And how can we ensure these rights are upheld for all? Let's take a closer look.
I am Mrs. Basilisa Tulete Isla. I'm actually a BS Bio graduate. I'm only got the certificate of teaching in Philippine Normal University. So every child actually should have the access to free education. I think our government, the Department of Education specifically, is actually doing well, giving the free education for everybody. The Department of Education actually provides enough school. Although there are far-flung places, the government actually making sure that they provide enough public high school or private schools from elementary to senior high school. They also try to hire as much as possible enough teachers so that they could have enough teachers for all the classes from different public high schools. So as I have said, the Department of Education actually is doing well to have all the different institutions so that everybody could access. But unfortunately, based on my experience, the learning materials are not enough. Sometimes, though the government is doing have its own way to have the different establishments or institutions, but still, it's not enough. Sometimes there are some schools wherein the class size could not be enough for the classroom setting. And sometimes, the government is providing us the materials. Sometimes they are not the appropriate materials that we need. So I think the government should better ask the teachers themselves what they really need, because they are the ones who actually handle, they are the one in the classroom setting. So they actually know what are the real problems. So sa aming kasing school, meron kaming SPED, which is actually curriculum for the special students with special needs. So one way para masabi natin may inclusivity, so whatever disabilities you have, whether kung ikaw ay deaf, kung ano man yun, okay, kung ikaw ay autistic, kung ano mang mental syndrome, so you still have the right to be educated, you still have the right to learn, okay? So sa school namin kitang-kita yun. And then dati kasi, ang aming school kasi ay may dalawang curriculum. Yung isa ay basic education, at yung isa ay curriculum for the special science classes. Meron kaming mga, yung mga estudyante na sinasabi natin na medyo magagaling, okay? Special science kasi sila, ang curriculum nila ay laging may research, meron silang mga may additional subjects sila kasi ang basic education sa amin ay sometimes ay 8 ang subjects, yung isa naman ay minsan ay 9, 10, okay? And then kung ang basic education program, they spend their study hours for example ay from 7 to 2, yung special science class namin is from 7 to 5 or 7 to 4. So medyo may edge sila kasi meron silang from G7 to G10, meron na silang research. Okay? I guess teachers are already provided with training. Every year may mga training kami. So nga lang when it comes to the materials, minsan may training, kami din naman gagawa ng mga learning materials. Tulad ng senior high school, umpisa sila ng curriculum ng senior high school, pero there are no learning materials. We teachers actually are the one who provide, who craft, who make our learning materials for the students, which will be suited for the students. Okay? So, yung lack of appropriate materials, appropriate equipment that we really need. So, in other words, ano kailangan ng mga teachers? The proper facilities and then appropriate learning materials, appropriate equipment. The Department of Education have been using or implementing different curriculum. And nowadays, nandun tayo sa K-12. Okay? When it comes to the quality of education, para sa akin, mas maganda yung curriculum na ginamit dati. Okay? Kahit siya ay from kinder and then 6 na primary years and then 4 years sa high school, mas maganda pa rin siya. Kasi pagdating sa curriculum or sa education, mas may mastery. Kasi ngayon yung K-12 na tinatawag natin na kinder 1, 2, and then grades 1 to 6, and then high school na junior from grade 7 to grade 10, and then senior high, grade 11 and grade 12. Yung tinatawag na lateralized kasi, a little of everything. So, ibig sabihin, kung grade 7 ka, konti ng, for example, sa science, konti ng chemistry, ng earth science, ng physics, ng biology, a little of everything, walang mastery. Nung time namin, 22, nasa ibang bansa na ako. Alam ko na kung paano mamuhay sa ibang bansa. Magiging independent na ako, mas productive na ako. Eh ngayon, 22, hindi pa graduate. Paano kung halimbawa may exam pa, meron pa kayong board exam, di ba, magre-review pa. So, 23, 24, 25, bago pa kayo makatapos, bago pa makapagtrabaho. Kumbaga masyadong matagal bago maging productive mag-isang estudyante ngayon.
Ako, for 20 years of ako service, ang inaging area ko kasi natin ay dito sa RHU1, which is 25, composed ng 25 barangays, and then sa RHU2 since 2009, 28 barangays. And since then kasi, na-upheld yung community services dahil ang aming focus ay more on protection, prevention of the diseases. At ang pagkakaroon ng health center dito sa atin, sa Philippines, ay malaking tulong sa community kasi ay work on preventive side. Kaya nakakatulong kami para maka-update ng community kasi ay natutulungan natin sila para hindi no. Kasi dito sa service sa honest community, we are dealing in all walks of life. May mahirap, may mayaman kami na encounter. Lalo pa yung area namin, mayroon kaming area ng indigenous people. Aware naman siguro kayo sa may isang community tayo. Walang discrimination na ngayon. Minsan ay nangyayari hindi. Kasi ay, na-item ako ng 2005, hindi ganito kadami ang workload. May innovation, may evolution. Dumadami kasi yung programs. Wala naman napapadagdag na tao. Dumadami ang workload namin, pero ang ibang LGU kasi, ang ratio kasi ng nurses is 1 is to 20,000 dati. Ngayon yung 1 is to 10,000. Ang population ng Rosario is 132,000. Ang nurses ay 4. Imagine mo? Samantala yung ibang LGU, 100,000 ang kanilang nurses ay 10. Maganda ang objective. Kaya lamang ay kami mga nasa RH. Medyo nahihirapan kasi kami mag-control sa mga requirements nila para kami ay filtered accredited. Kung narinig niyo yung consulta package, as of now, hindi pa kami accredited kasi may mga kulang kami pagay. Pero ibang LGU naman ay okay sa kanila. Siguro out of 32 municipalities ng LG ng province of Batangas, siguro yung filtered accredited doon ay siguro less than 10. Kasi nga minsan hindi agad kami makaka-apply. Pero when it comes to hospitalization, na-hospitalize natin mga patient, maraming tulong sila. Kasi nakakabawas ang bill. Noong una, okay naman din dito ang implementation ng primary care. Nung kasi habang mga years, kasi na-item ako 2005, 2025 to 20 years in service. Nagkaroon kasi ng binabalik din DOH yung universal healthcare. Universal healthcare. And yung approach doon is maganda siya at parang ini-intensify yung mga preventive side, tinatry nila educate yung mga nasa RHU, tinatrain nila, binibigyan ng pinakapacitate. At malaking tulong yun para yung services na may ibigay namin sa mga masasakupan namin is mas maganda magiging benefit ng mga nasa bahay. Funding. Kasi nga dahil nagkaroon ng pandemic, nagkaroon kami ng limited resources namin. Right to health ng mga tao na maka-avail ng services, free medicine, free vaccine, kasi ngayon kami kasi ngayon ay merong animal bite center, pero dumadating sa point wala kami vaccine. May pambili, pero walang mabili mo. Rabies, kaya wala kami maitulong. And then, increase ng salary ng nurses. Kasi nung time na year 20, nakasama kasi ako sa rally para maging, before kasi ang base ko lang is 14,000 a month. That was year 2028, yeah, 14,000. Magkaroon ng rally sa may PGH, nag-propose kami ng 30,000 ang increase ang entry level. Approved. Year 2023, nag-rally, kasama ulit ako sa rally. Hindi ako optimista. Nagkataon lang na ako ay nurse supervisor ng Rosario. Na-invite ng isang organization, ng nurses organization, para maging representative ng hospital, ng private and government and RHs to go to Rosario. Nag-propose kami na maging level ng nurses ay 50,000. Pag nabigay yun, pati kayo mag-benefit. Huwag kayo nasa sa community kayo. Kasi iba kasi nasa hospital. Unless nasa government hospital.
Well, I had the luxury of growing up in a private school, in a Catholic environment that accepts, love, and is compassionate about those things, primarily influenced by liberal Christian theology. So I was wholly accepted, even though I have not yet accepted myself, and they gave me a more in-depth understanding of myself, and of course, matching my beliefs with my identity. Again, I have the luxury of growing up in a compassionate environment, but experiences from my friends, from my family, from other family members, and stories from other people compelled me to understand their situation, to somehow put myself in their shoes. So, though I do not have a first-hand experience of such, I can speak for them and I can understand where they're coming from. Okay, I think the problem that the group experience would be generalization of stereotypes and the enforcement of such stereotypes, the indoctrination, to the point of indoctrination that a certain group would act that way and would behave that way and would have a moral capability of such, when as a matter of fact, it's an individualized case, that gender preference, sexual preference does not affect our moral compass, but rather the moral compass that we act on is individualized and of course nurtured by the caring environment that we have. That's why the problem is lack of understanding and lack of support. Of course, the laws being enacted are quite, or seems unfair rather, to our fellow brothers and sisters of such group. But I think we can handle the situation without enforcing much laws that would upset others. Of course, we have to enact such laws and such bills in due time, but until the time comes, we need to be compassionate and understanding. That's the key to this paradox, that we become compassionate and understanding of their situations, not just the situations of our brothers and sisters in such group, but those, of course, who try to ostracize them, because the problem is they do not understand where our LGBTQ brothers are coming from. So until the government enacts such laws, until we are prepared to do so, we need to continuously teach ourselves, we need to continuously prepare and understand the situation. Of course, the government lacks support. It needs to further revitalize the curriculum, the education system, expand the message of compassion and understanding of the scientific background and reasoning behind it. And of course, the churches, the states, the churches need to cooperate with the state in doing so. But until the time comes, we need to expand the message of understanding and compassion. Well, looking through the someone who is an avid fan of history, I could say that the progress has been huge. I mean, looking back at the principles and morality we have in the 1960s up to now, we have become more understanding and more compassionate, but we are moving in a slow pace. I mean, it's been how many years since the movement from the 1970s up to now, and still we stigmatize those in the community, we ostracize them, and we push them out of our families, which is of course a very bad thing. It goes against Christian values, it goes against Catholic theology, it goes against the CCC, though they are part of that community. And of course, the Scripture says that it is disordered. The Scripture also emphasizes that to ostracize them, to keep them out of society, to not give them mercy and compassion is a sin of the same weight. Meaning, condemning them does not uplift our soul, rather it harms us more. That's why I think we can move more on a more steady pace, on a faster pace, and of course implement better laws about it. Of course, I would like to see the change in education, primarily teaching them understanding of the people in the community. Again, what I see as the main problem is the stigmatization, the overgeneralization, and the enforcement of the stereotypes. It's the thing that keeps us, that indoctrinates us, that people have to act in such a way and that they have to behave such a way, and they would have a moral compass of such a way, when as a matter of fact, how we behave, how we understand, how we comprehend, and how we adjust to our moralities and values are individualized, not generalized, individualized. That is why we are all called to be compassionate, merciful, and understanding. That's why being in the community does not diminish our dignity. It does not make us less. It does not prevent us from looking for spirituality, for God, for theology. If it be in Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, nothing should block us from searching for it. Rather, we need to end the idea of overgeneralization, of stereotyping, and stop the indoctrination and nip it from the roots.